Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good day to all of you. My name is Maryam Masturah binti Muhammad Roslan from Arkin Studio, and I am currently a first year student studying architecture in USIM, and my matric number is 1211300. As for today, I would like to present to all of you about my final year project on last semester. It is an individual project and called a pop-up pot mobitecture. So, what is a pop-up pot mobitecture is actually? Pop-up pot is a transportable leisure tent and it is quicker to build than the other pot, meaning it's very handy, and the mobitecture is standing for mobile architecture, which is in this case, it should provide a safe space for the frontliners to rest and take a break. The pod should focus on the purpose of giving frontliners a safe space to rest and to indulge in personal activities such as relaxing and reading. Before I start explaining about my workflow in designing this project, I would like to brief a little bit about this project and the requirement needed in this project. So the main aim for this project is to heighten the awareness of the students towards the human body and the interaction between the space and body, and also to let the students explore more about the rules of reasoning and logic in shaping a form and other design choices such as construction, materials, form, sizes, and colors. For this project, it is required for us to design a one-to-one workable prototype between the 2 meter to 4 meter square for single occupancy. And the consideration that we need to take address to in designing this spot is including the good ventilation, comfortness, good lighting, and a storage, but the storage is an optional for us in designing our pot. And it is compulsory for us to provide several drawing in designing this project, which is a top view, floor plan, 2 elevations, and 2 sections. And also we need to provide a perspective view of our pot. And all the drawing must be drawn on A1 board with a landscape view and with a scale of 1 to 10. So as for now, I would like to explain in details about my workflow in designing this pop-up pot from the very beginning until the final outcome. So this is my first pot. So actually, before I start designing my pop-up pot, I actually came out with an issue related to this project, which I realized that the fatigue medical health frontliners have no comfort and privacy space that are easy for them to reach it instantly, for them to have a rest and take a break after a long hectic day. So from the issue, I thought I will need to design a pop-up pot that are portable and light, that could make frontliners' daily life in this pandemic era more easy, so that this issue will resolve. With the connection of the issue and my concept, I came out with the ComoPod concept, which defines a compressible mobitecture where it uses less space when it is stored, and also it can be shortened and lengthened at will. That will offers the comforts for the frontliners. After that, I came out with a Nakli study from Quran verse from Surah As-Saf, chapter 61, verse 4, which is mean, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, verily Allah loved those who fight in His cause in a row as if they were a solid structure. This verse suits perfectly with my concept because I would like to design a pop-up pot that is mainly to provide comfortness and easiness for the frontliners to rest, and sustainable so that they can use it in a long term. From the Nakli study, I can conclude that the term rose in this verse can be defined as an arrangement in rows more solid and structured. So it is more sturdy and will have a longer lifespan. From this Nakli study and my concept, as I explained before, I came out with an ideation of the caterpillar. So what is the link between the caterpillar, Nakli study and my concept? What is the relation between the three of these? So as we all know that caterpillars have a structural body structure and its shapes looks like it arranged orderly, and with this particular characteristic of the caterpillar's body structure, its body will have more flexibility. So with this ideation, I transform and replace the shape of the caterpillar structure with a straight line, and I add a zigzag element for the compressible features, and as a final, I add the complexity towards the shape. My precedent study I referred to in designing this pop-up pot is from the cardboard chair, which I got from the way it was folded and from the Prax farmhouse building, where I inspired by the facade of the building. And for my opportunities in the future, for my design is it can be expandable for group use, and it can accommodate to 6 people in my pot, and it also have a mid area at the center of the pot. I actually made a conceptual model, or known as a meshing model, so that I can imagine and get a grasp of what my pop-up pot would actually look like. So moving on to my mock-up model. Mock-up model, I construct it without a scale, and for the mock-up model, I use a small thickness of the wire as a frame and to make it stand firm, and then I attach it with grey jersey cloth for the facade, and an A4 foam paper at the end of the right side. As you can see, the green one in this picture is an A4 foam paper. Next, I will proceed with a construction in designing this pop-up pot and the material that being used while constructing it. So the first one is a resin rod with a diameter of 6 millimeters. It is a sturdy material, but at the same time, it has a lightweight, and I use the resin rod as a frame of my pop-up pot. And the second one is mesh net with a hole. The diameter of the hole is 0.2 millimeters. I use the mesh net for the ventilation purposes, but at the same time, it can also provide the light inside my pop-up pot. And next is I use the hard and strong cardboard for the support of the pot, and with a thickness of 10 millimeters, and it's not painful due to its structural arrangement. Move to the hinges. I use with length of 35 millimeters. I used to join the two of the cardboard that I explained as a support before. I use the hinges at the cardboard so that the cardboard will can be folded easily. For the Velcro straps, as we all know, it has a great strength and easy to use. So I use the Velcro strap to secure the bottom of the mesh net part with a fabric part of my pot. And the zipper, I use it at the entrance of my pop-up pot to close the door or to open so that the people inside the pot can enter and exit the pot easily. And lastly, I use the 210D polyester fabric with a black and green color. I use this fabric because it has a lightweight and it is also waterproof material. It also resists to damage and dirt. So I use it, and I assume the fabric is the best material for my pot among the other fabric. So let's move to the drawing board. So this is my first drawing board. As you can see, there's a top view of my pop-up pot and the plan of my pop-up pot. The real dimension of my pop-up pot is 1700 millimeters for the length and 890 millimeters for the width and 900 millimeters for the height. So from the plan, I drew a section, two sections, section AA and section BB. Section AA, as you can see, there's a person sitting inside the pot, and the second one is the section BB, where we can see a person is reading a book while laying inside the pot comfortably. For my second board of drawing, as you can see, there are two elevations, which is a front elevation and right elevation. So the front elevation is where you can see the entrance of my pop-up pot, and the another one is the right elevation, where you can see a mesh net that I construct with for the ventilation purposes, as I explained before. And same goes to the previous drawing, the previous board. I drew this elevation also with a scale of 1 to 10. Since it is compulsory for us to fulfill the requirement of the project, which we need to construct a one-to-one workable prototype, I came out with a few transportable strategies, and it only consists of 3 easy steps. So after we use the pot, the first thing we need to do to start the pot is by compressing the left end of the pot and fold the cardboard stand close to the square surface. Second, we need to compress the another end of the pot, the right end of the pot, compress and fold both of the cardboard closely to the resin rod, which in this situation, the resin rod is the pot's frame, as I explained before. And the last step is tie the pot with the buckle back strap and link it with another straps as a handle. And yeah, that's it. 3 simple steps to start the pot. So after I made the drawing, I finally came out with my real model. So as you all know, the real model was constructed with a scale of 1 to 1, and this is the picture of my final model. And The final model was constructed with 210D polyester fabric, and I sewed it by myself. I sewed it all along the resin road, and I've explained why I choose the fabric instead of the other fabric, and I use the resin road instead of the another material because I think the resin road is the most suitable for my part. Not unlike mock-up model, which I only use the small thickness of the wire, where honestly it couldn't stand firm and easy to fall even I put it on a flat surface. So I think that's all for my final model and the final outcome of my project. In conclusion, I can say that this design is most suitable from my perspective view because it have solved the issue I faced earlier. And I will say throughout the whole process in designing and constructing the one-to-one workable prototype, there's of course there's a sleepless night and obstacles I face, me and my friends face respectively during that period of the time. And my friend once bought a wrong thickness of the road, and she could not bend the road as she's imagined it will be in her design. In my experience, I personally experienced since I couldn't find the best fabric for my pot at the offline store, I need to buy the fabric on online shopping store, where I cannot see the real fabric, the condition, the real fabric, and cannot assume the length that I need for my pot. And I accidentally bought it in sufficient quantities, so I need to reorder the fabric and wait a few more days for it to arrive so that I can continue constructing my pot. But I can say that this project will be the most memorable one among the other projects because never I've ever think that I will sew one-to-one workable prototype and construct it all by myself. I gained a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge from the whole process. And I think that's all for my presentation today. Thank you very much for your attention.